everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Emma. This is probably a great video, a first video for you guys to see, just because it's going to be a personal Q&A. So I will be answering some more personal, in-depth questions, and I really enjoy doing this. I think it's super fun and it's a great way for you guys just to get to know me a little bit more on not so much of like a surface level. I asked you guys on Instagram to leave me any questions that you had, and there are some really good ones that I haven't talked about before, so I'm really excited to cover those or answer those. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, so weirdly enough, or maybe not so weirdly, I don't know, but there were quite a few questions about like if I had ever dated someone, if I had a boyfriend, if I was talking to someone, all that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd go ahead and quickly cover that just because it won't take me very long. Yes, I have dated someone. It was my junior and senior year of high school that we were together, and we broke up in like April of 2017. Yeah, that's when I graduated high school. So we've been broken up for over a year and a half. I haven't dated anyone since. I have talked to like a few guys, but I don't know. I'm just not really into it, and I'm not really like in the mood to like, I don't know, find a boyfriend, I guess. Like if someone crosses my path and I feel like it's right and like someone that I would want to pursue, then sure, but like I'm not gonna go out of my way to find a guy. So this kind of ties in with the boyfriend question, I guess. Not really, but it was, how many children do you want when you are older? I thought this was a really interesting question. I always wanted 4 just because like I am the middle child, so I have an older brother and a younger sister, and I always kind of felt like, I don't know, out of place almost. And so I feel like with 4, like you would always have 2 buddies, or a buddy, like 2 groups, or like you can all play together. So I feel like 4 is like a good safe number for growing up because everyone has like a buddy. But now that I'm older, I really liked being the middle child, so I'm kind of thinking like 3 or 4. Probably won't go past 4 because that is just a lot of work. I don't even know if I can make it through 1 pregnancy, honestly. Like I have so much, just a very low pain tolerance. And 2, I feel like it's like just not enough, and I don't know, I just don't like the idea of 2, so probably 3 or 4. A great question that I got was, why did you not consider going to college? What changed your mind? And I actually mentioned this in a couple of my college vlogs, I think. So yeah, college was a very last minute decision for me. I applied after I had already graduated high school. Like I was homeschooled my entire life. College is the first real school experience I've ever had. My dad still is a high school teacher, math teacher, and so he was always in the education system and he just hated it. So that's why they chose to homeschool, and we did a very different approach to schooling. I mean, my parents called it unschooling, so like we were just kind of allowed to choose like some of the subjects that we wanted to study, and we were able to kind of lead the schooling, I guess, instead of like being told what to do. Obviously we still did some math, some English, some history, you know, the basics, but it was very just like relaxed and hands-on, which I really liked. And I think my mom, as always, she kind of takes credit for me starting my YouTube channel. You know, if we had not homeschooled, or if I was in the school system full-time, there is a very real possibility that I never would have started this channel, and I never would be like where I am today. So I attribute a lot to homeschooling and just being in that kind of mindset where, like, I don't know, schools and ACTs and college, like college was never an expected decision for me. Like I never felt like, oh, I have to go to college because that's what people do. I never felt like that, and I think that was just because I was homeschooled. So with that in mind, I was very just kind of torn, like especially my senior year. I was just trying to figure stuff out, and so I had thought about doing like an au pair, or being an au pair like overseas for a year, but that was just too expensive, and I didn't really have like, I don't know, I don't think I was ready to leave my family and my home for a year to au pair overseas in another country. I had thought about like working full-time, all that kind of stuff, but I knew that I didn't want to pursue YouTube full-time, and so sadly our society is that if you don't have a college degree, you just don't have as many job opportunities as people with college degrees, despite like the differing qualifications. So I felt like a college degree would be really beneficial to me, especially since I want to work like up until I'm 30 at least, depending on when I have kids or if I have kids. So I just felt like a college degree was something that I needed to kind of succeed, especially like in my 20s. So the next question is, how do you deal with stress? And I thought this was also a great question because I feel like this is a very kind of like mental health and self-care realization of how do I identify and manage stress. So I would say like I'm a pretty chill, relaxed person. Really like the only time that I get stressed is if I have like a ton of things due that night. Or like I get stressed for like, well, I wouldn't even call that stress. I would call that nervousness, like for a presentation or a speech or something like that. So yeah, really the only time I get stressed is when I know I have deadlines due like that day. So what I do to avoid that is I work ahead. I very, very rarely submit assignments the day that they're due. Like I always do it beforehand, just because that greatly eliminates the stress for me. So I think that's a great thing, a great way to handle stress is just to identify, okay, what the heck stresses me out? And then you can kind of like alter your behaviors and actions to help that. And yeah, like I said, for me, it's knowing, okay, like if I have something to get done or I have something to do, like I need to prepare myself to get ready for this. And I feel like, yeah, I'm just like, I like to stay on top of things. Actually, another question was, how do you remain so organized and productive? And I think this kind of like all goes hand in hand, especially if you're in like high school or college. I'm also naturally like a very organized person. Like organizing is something that I enjoy, and I love making lists and checking stuff off. Like that's really satisfying for me. And so, and then along with that, like productivity, if I know I have something that I have to do, I do it. I definitely do procrastinate. I've definitely noticed it the past couple weeks too. I think it's just because like I'm in that lull of the semester where like, oh, I'm so close to being done, but I still have so much to do. So yeah, I think just like make a checklist, know what you need to get done and get it done, and just like try to, like I have gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm on my phone way too much. It's distracting me. It's not letting me get my stuff done. Well, it's not, I'm not, but I'll turn it off and I'll set it aside, or I'll leave it outside of my room or something, just so that I can sit down and get my work done. Is it hard to juggle school and a YouTube channel? Okay, this is a question that I feel like a lot of YouTubers obviously get asked. For me personally, it's not that hard, just because I feel like I don't post on YouTube very often. Like I only post once a week, and like every other week is a like week in my life, and those are really easy to film, really easy to edit, and like so it just doesn't take me near as long as like a morning routine or like a DIY or something like that. But I feel like now the new YouTube or whatever they're calling it, like the videos are very like just kind of chill, relaxed, more of like a vlog style. And so when you're allowed to have that kind of freedom and like, hey, like my viewers don't want high production, it's really easy just to kind of like, or for me at least, it's easy just kind of let that go and just be like, oh, okay, like this is a vlog style, like it can be chill. I don't have to have the best angle, I don't have to have the best editing, so it's not as hard or time consuming to make videos. But yeah, for me, only posting once a week, I mean, I feel like it's fairly easy. Obviously, if you were posting like 2 or 3 times a week and you were in college and like you had a social life and you have to sleep and eat and all that kind of stuff, like I'm sure it would be much more difficult to kind of balance everything. I love this question. I don't think I've ever talked about this yet before. It's, what job do you see yourself doing after college, or what would be your dream job? So fun fact, my ultimate dream job is to be a marine biologist, but sadly that will never happen. Obviously, like my fun real life dream job would just to be like a travel YouTuber and Instagrammer. I think that would be so much fun because I love traveling so much. My current plans for after graduation is to be like a social media coordinator manager for like an overseas hospitality company, so like the Four Seasons or Marriott, something like that. I would love to go somewhere like tropical, like the Maldives, Bora Bora, even like Hawaii or Europe. Like, I don't know, I just want to get out of the US, which is a big step, but I feel like the world is just too big to stay in the same spot, and so I really want to get out and go adventure and have fun and be free, kind of, until I'm like 30 and I'm like, alright, Emma, you should probably settle down and meet a guy and make some babies. So alright, and my last question is definitely more of a personal question, and this is something that I don't really talk about for just certain reasons, but I will answer this. So it's, how did your family and friends react to you not believing in God after growing up religious? So, for those of you who don't know, I am not religious anymore. I was raised Christian. We were the all-in conservative homeschooling Christian family. And actually, I think about 10 years ago that kind of changed. So my brother was the first one out, and he was very ostracized in our homeschool community, which I wasn't really aware of until like my mom told me sometime this past year, which makes me really sad. So yeah, he was the first one out, and then my dad told me maybe like 4 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, that he was kind of just kind of unsure. And then my mom told me right after I graduated high school, so like a year and a half ago. So after I knew about my brother, it didn't really like click in my mind though. And then my dad told me, and then my mom told me. I was like, you know what? I should probably start researching this. So I did. I read some of my favorite books. I read Sam Harris. His Letter to a Christian Nation is really good. Whether you're religious or not, honestly, like I feel like it's targeted more towards a Christian, because he kind of points out some flaws and just kind of problems that he has with Christianity and Islam too. I think he kind of mixes those in, and Judaism, just because they're all Abrahamic religions. And then I read Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, which was really beneficial for me. And I watched a lot of like debates and stuff like that. I watched like Bill Nye versus Ken Ham, which was really interesting. Matt Dillahunty, my brother told me about. He's a really cool dude. And then like street epistemology. His name is Anthony Magnabosca. It's really interesting. He just like goes to places or like a hiking path and like asks people about like their religion. I mean, not specifically. He's like, okay, what's like a deeply held belief that you have? And most people say like their religion or spirituality or something of that sort, and he kind of dissects it. So I just did a ton of research, and I just kind of felt as though, I don't know, it just like religion in general, like certain aspects of it make sense, but the overall thing just doesn't quite make sense to me. So yeah, no longer religious. Sorry, that was kind of a long explanation. But yeah, I really don't want to share like much more than that, just because like I feel like it's so easy to be misunderstood on the internet, because we can't have a one-to-one conversation and like I can really no, like I meant this or I meant this. So that's, yeah, I know people have asked me to make a video all about it, and I feel like it would be beneficial for a lot of people, but then I feel like there's going to be a lot of people on the other side who are just going to rip me, or that's not what I mean, and so I'm just not willing or ready to put myself in that position yet. So back to the question, how did family and friends react? My, immediate family were very, welcoming, not welcoming, but like very receptive of the idea, because they had we'd all gone through it together, which I think is really unique. Whereas usually it's just one person who kind of goes through it. So yeah, in that aspect, I'm very grateful that we all got to go through it together, and we're all kind of in the same or similar place now. My external family, I would say my mom's side doesn't really think anything of it. They're not super religious. but my dad's side are all practicing Catholics, and so I don't even know when my parents told them, maybe like a year or two ago. It hasn't been that long. And so there is definitely like just some odd tension between us, and so I think it's, I don't know, I feel like religion or not believing in any higher power is such a, I feel like it just kind of shapes your worldview and your actions and behaviors and just all of that kind of stuff. And so I feel like if they're not willing to ask us questions and like try and understand where we're coming from, it's really hard for those people to kind of understand you. So yeah, I don't know, it's just, it's still kind of like uncharted waters, like we're still trying to figure it out. But yeah, it's been interesting to see and to witness. As for my friends, it's not that they didn't like accept my non-belief. I think it was more so that I just changed so much from not believing that I feel like we just really don't click anymore. So the friends that I used to be so close in high school with, I'm not close with at all anymore. I rarely ever see them, and so part of me, I mean, I think it is for the best just because like we're so astronomically different now, which is so sad because like I just wanted to cling on to those friendships because we had so many great memories together. But yeah, I just feel like my personality and beliefs and how I view the world doesn't really fit in. Like obviously you can still be friends with conflicting perspectives and worldviews. Just for me, it just the dynamic, I don't know. I've tested it out, I've tried, and I just don't think it like really works. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was probably long. Sorry. Once I start talking, I just don't shut up. So, and if you have any other questions relating to the questions that I answered, please feel free to DM me on Instagram, because one-on-one I'm more willing to share like kind of what I'm thinking rather than an open platform like this. So if you have any follow-ups or just further questions, please DM me on Instagram. I will be sure to answer and get back to you. And also follow me if you want to stay updated on my everyday life, because like I say, I'm on Instagram a lot more than I'm on YouTube. So geez, I'm having a really difficult time talking today. Okay. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this again, and I will talk to you all in my next video. Bye!